You're listening to DraftKings Network.
It's done.
Connor McDavid! It's not real!
The goal of the year.
Panarin!
Part of the past. The celebrations. Forgotten. The history.
Vegas Golden Knights!
History. We're back to a blank slate. Clean ice. All that matters now is what happens next. The Stanley Cup Playoffs.
Eastern Conference Final begins Wednesday.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB, the CV. Copyright 2024. Proximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
This is a dangerous proposition. Sam Morril cannot be happy right now. He is proud of his team, but he runs dark. And the last time we had him on after a loss, it was just simply dangerous. And he's got a sly smile on his face. And I've got to be honest, I get scared when he's got a sly smile on his face, because what can come from behind that mask is dangerous, and it is professional, and it can be funny and sharp, but it can also be violent and unpleasant, and he'll burn everything here down. He doesn't care, because he is hurt today, I imagine, but proud of his team. He's our senior Knicks correspondent. He's the commissioner of fandom. He's got shows coming up in Lexington, Kentucky, in Southern California, in Atlantic City, Rochester, Baltimore, here in Doral, in Miami, and same time tomorrow is the Netflix special. Brutal the way that went down yesterday, Sam, in that you know that building hasn't felt like that in a while, and then Anunoby comes out all drugged up, and you get what you need from him and can never get back into the game because the Pacers put up a historic shooting performance.
Well, look, Anunoby, I give him a lot of credit for coming out there, but you just said get what we need. I mean, you know, it's like popping a Viagra and giving you 2 pumps. He hit 2 nice shots, but it wasn't, you know, it's not the difference maker. He gave us 5 minutes. He couldn't walk. So, you know, anyone who says this Knicks season wasn't a success, including Jalen, we're very proud of our team. But you can't say this Pacers team, although a great shooting team, would have beat the Knicks if they were fully healthy. Taking 7 games to put us away, missing, over half our team? Stop shaking your head, asshole. And then...
which is the asshole? Which one of them?
Whoever was shaking his head right there.
That was you.
Good to meet you, brother. But I cut clips of you calling Joel Embiid soft as hell. He had a bad eye, bad back, bad knee, bad body, and you was celebrating, dancing on his grave, talking about how good the damn Knicks was. Now that y'all lost with some damn injuries, now you want some sympathy. Get your ass out of here.
It was good enough to put up a 50-piece. The Knicks were missing 6 players by the end of this series. If you put on Ocean's 11 and there's no Matt Damon, no Brad Pitt, you're just like, what the hell? This movie's not as good. No shit. We're missing over half our rotation. OG was the answer on Pascal Siakam, and he couldn't put up big nights against him. But once Josh Hart is guarding him, no shit, he's going to get cooked in the post. He's much shorter. So, I'm sorry the Sixers lost. I'm sorry, Joel Embiid, hell of a player. 1 injury, but he was able to still play. And you had a fresh whole team. We didn't have Randall. We didn't have OG this series. We didn't have Mitchell. Injuries are a real thing. All right, well, enjoy having Embiid never healthy for a playoff series, because he never will be. He's Mr. Glass from Unbreakable. The Knicks will be back. I say we run it back. I hope we do. I think healthy, we're pretty damn dangerous, so I hope they keep it together.
Cynthia.
Back Isaiah, back OG.
Cynthia, can you please put together for me a banner that says, no way the Pacers beat us if we're healthy in Game 7 so that we can send it to Sam and have him put it up in his apartment?
And when you said real fans won a Game 7, this is why I told you you're a jerk off. What are you talking about? Real fans want to win. We wanted to put this away in 6, obviously. I told you I'd be there if there was a Game 7. I was there. Tough game to be at, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Sam, I didn't say that you should want a Game 7. I said that if you have real confidence in being the better team, why would you be afraid of a Game 7 at home?
Do you believe that injuries are not a real thing?
I believe they're a real thing for everybody who's playing basketball this year, and that no other fan base ever wants to hear about your fan base's injuries.
That's fair, but it's a reality, and I think we are. We run it back next year. Hopefully, we're healthy. Hopefully, we bring back OG and Hardenstein. I think they were important to the team.
Sam, I actually realized this series was over when they went to the OG moment. There's only so many times you can go for a Willis Reed moment. They already had one with Jalen Brunson in Game 2 at the Mecca. And so I knew the series was over when they went for another Willis Reed moment, and OG came out looking like me. Like, he looked like he was 93 years old. He could barely walk.
Barely walk, and he hit 2 big shots. But you know when he couldn't barely walk? When he threw a dunk down on Joel Embiid. That was pretty fun. But
I'm a Celtics fan.
Look, he's a hell of a player, and look, bad luck is a thing. It'll happen, and we're grateful for. Here's the thing that's funny is people do have some grudge against New York fans being happy because any other team is this depleted from injury. You're celebrating the resilience. You're like, holy shit, they really fought with half their team. But for some reason, not with the Knicks. Shout out Alec Burks. Great series despite us having just no defensive answer for a sharpshooting Pacers team. And we just didn't have the size. We were getting killed inside by Siakam so much. And their shooting was great yesterday. You have to give your hats off to their shooting. But I just don't think they get those looks if we have a healthy OG, if we have a healthy Mitchell Robinson, obviously. I mean, the defense is they got good looks on us. They're killing us.
Let's play some video here for Sam and see what it is that delights him or agitates him from all of the things yesterday. Let's begin with Stephen A. Smith making his entrance into MSG. And to be fair to Stephen A. Smith, the Knicks didn't have enough healthy star power. He'd be like their second or third most famous Knick. So he should be dressed that way, and he should walk in as if it's his building. But I imagine it made Sam crazy to watch this.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it is funny that he looks like a photographer in a safari in the 1950s for some reason. But no, I like that he's fans should be there. I'm glad that we have fans in the building, but I don't think he's good luck. I mean, is anyone arguing that we're like, oh, good, we're good? I don't think it's a great sign that Stephen A's there. I don't think I was like, oh, this is the juice we need to get us over the top. I don't think Isaiah Hardenstein's playing like, oh, good, the guy who never believed in me. I don't think he's helping us. He ain't Ben Stiller or Spike Lee. He ain't like a guy we're like, oh, cool. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the injuries, as I said. It doesn't really matter. Can we stop?
You sound defeated.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. The injuries are a fair point. It's not up for dispute. But let's see if we can play Paul Pierce here. This one surely will get Sam upset. Surely this Paul Pierce stomping on Jalen Brunson's jersey will surely upset Sam.
I mean, this guy is. This guy's in his mid-40s. What is he doing? It's just weird. Why does he hate Jalen Brunson? And then he's defended by fans about the Knicks. Paul, keep eating shortbread cookies. You're about 2 packs away from looking like Charles.
No, come on.
No, Dan, it's weird.
There's no fat shaming here on WFAT.
But it's weird. He has no history with the Knicks. Like, what does he care?
Let my boy cook.
Paul Pierce.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the last time the Knicks played Paul Pierce and the Celtics in a series, we actually beat him.
Touche.
Let's play for Sam. All of the Knicks appearing yesterday at the game. They were all dressed in black because they were at a funeral for the Pacers here. They all came in dressed in black, including Tibbs. You have to do better than that if you're going to come in black.
You know what's even better about that? That was Game 6.
It's a fun.
No, yeah. Look, how about Tyrese Halliburton wearing a different outfit coming in than leaving yesterday because he's got no confidence even against a half-healthy Knicks. Tyrese leaves in a Reggie Miller choke shirt. He shows up in, I'm sure, some Prada runway horseshit that looked oversized and ridiculous on him. I didn't see what he came in. But the fact that he had a second outfit in case they won shows how little confidence Tyrese has, even against a depleted Knicks team. So congrats, you beat half our team. I'll give you half a congratulations.
I love it.
Next year, I can't wait to see him again. And I can't wait to cook their ass. Just got to bring back OG and enough of this footage. Let's bring back OG and Isaiah, and it's a wrap. I mean, we will beat them up. Siakam ain't putting up those numbers against a healthy team.
How about
4 front court players missing is insane. It's insane defensively. It's insane for your depth. So.
You were in the building, but you probably didn't catch much of the pregame. Some people in Indiana and elsewhere are bothered by how much Knicks bias soaked the entirety of the broadcast. Here's Stephen A. Doing basically a pep rally for the Knicks.
They ain't here right now. You understand what's at stake. It's been since 2000 that we've been in the conference finals. We've waited 24 years for this moment right here. OG Anunoby is back. Josh Hart's going to play. When you talk about Game 7, it comes down to grinding. It comes down to guts. It comes down to who won it. Come up in here. Come up in here, Spike Lee. You come right here. Come right here. It's orange and blue skies, baby. This is what it's all about right here. This is what we've been waiting for right here. It's Game 7. This is what it's about. Get the hat. Put it back on it. The New York Knicks. It's about grinding. It's about guts. It's about heart. That's what games are. Clark just walked by. This is what it's about. This is what we waited for right here. One game, 48 minutes. Orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies. That is what it's all about, Bob.
We'll guard in Game 7. I'm going back to my seat.
It's about me.
Play that at my funeral.
He's not a real, as I've said a million times, he's shown up this year for the first time. So is he a real fan? God, why you show me this, Spike? Poor Spike. Spike's seen it all, man. He's seen it all. Stephen A., enough about it.
He hasn't seen a title.
He has. How old do you think Spike is? He has seen a title.
Well, we haven't seen him watching a title being won.
That's you weren't alive. But it existed. I'm sorry it was in black and white. It still exists. You also deny the Holocaust? That happened too.
No.
Yeah, I'm going there, Dan.
No, I didn't. I knew this
feels like a lash out, Sam.
I knew you were going to escalate it to there.
Yeah.
You cannot be trusted to not.
All this because he had to count on Alec Burks.
Hey, Alec Burks looked good, though. You got to admit. I mean,
Thank you.
For being this depleted, he did look pretty damn good.
Bring him back.
You're absolutely
Mr. Game 7.
He's got shows coming up in Lexington, Kentucky, in Southern California, in Rochester, Doral, Baltimore. Same time tomorrow is the Netflix special. Let's leave him with some Tracy Morgan here. Tracy Morgan was very excitable during the game yesterday.
This town is going to be fire! Fire! Fire!
It's not great to allow more points through 3 quarters than any team since the 1963 Celtics.
It's not good.
See you later, Sam. Much love.
Since the dawn of mankind, we've cooked our food over an open flame and debated the best way to grill. One thing not up for debate, grilling and beer always go together. And not just any beer will do. Whether you barbecue Texas style or celebrate Wednesday with burgers and dogs, you need a beer that tastes great and is less filling, so you have more room for food. You need Miller Lite. As you guys may or may not know, I'm a pretty decent cook, especially behind the barbecue. So when I start the fire from my smoker on a hot day, really, the only thing that I have to worry about is what wood I'm going to use. The easiest decision for me is what I'll be drinking. That's a nice ice cold can of Miller Lite. Oh, and by the way, here's a pro tip. It really goes well with brisket. Miller Lite keeps it simple, undebatable quality, and tastes as great as your barbecue. A perfect companion for grill masters across America. With the Miller Lite in hand, grilling doesn't just taste great, it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right at your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
Don Le Batard.
World War III.
Stugotz.
We're going to get that off the ground.
World War III, our group chat has a pretty good feeling about this one.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Quiet around here, Stugotz, recently, even though sports fans more than ever, I think, are obsessed with the finances of sport. Mm-hmm. We've been quiet about what Tua is going to sign for. Jared Goff just got an amount of money that makes him the second highest paid quarterback in the sport after Burrow annually, over $50 million a year. The Jags, after seeing that, are said to be all in on Trevor Lawrence, wanting $50 million a year. And if Trevor Lawrence and Jared Goff, whether they're system quarterbacks in the case of Goff or whether they're undetermined value in the case of Trevor Lawrence, if those two quarterbacks are going to get more than $50 million a year. And now Jeremy Fowler is reporting that Tua has missed some OTAs and is unhappy with the initial offer. Tua's going to get more money than people think he deserves. Like, Tua's going to get an amount of money that Trevor Lawrence is going to get and that Jared Goff is going to get, and people react to those contracts the same way they will react to Tua's, saying, wait a minute, should he be one of the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks annually, even though he's going to be?
Diana Rossini is reporting that Tua showed up to OTAs today, so that's a good sign, I think, for Dolphin fans. Yeah, he's better than those guys. Like last year, he had a better season than Jared Goff. He had a better season than Trevor Lawrence. He led the NFL in passing yards. His rating was 101.1. That is higher than both those quarterbacks. You have to pay the guy. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying Dolphin fans should be comfortable with him making $55 million per season. But you have to slot him in, don't you?
The stuff that becomes complicated here, I don't know how to answer that question, Stugotz, because we're still talking about a quarterback, no matter how quiet it was in this regard last year, who feels to me like more of an injury risk than the other two quarterbacks we're talking about.
But he started 17 games last year. Like, that's what we said. The biggest thing headed into next season was, could Tua stay healthy for an entire season? He did it, Dan, and he played well.
That is correct.
Yes.
But if I'd asked you this question 17 games ago, you would have said, hell no. And you would have said, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. And he's had a year where you're not worried about a concussion happening within a month of another concussion. But there was no quarterback in the sport that we worried more about his health and his brain health than this one. Troy Aikman left the sport because of his brain health. That's how and why he got out. And I, in a salary cap sport, cannot say to you, once you've found a quarterback who has those kinds of numbers, I can't say to you, no, you don't give that quarterback money. But I have more trouble than I ever have in a salary cap sport that has now made it so that you have to have value at that position. It's not just have greatness. You have to have greatness and value so that you could build out the rest of your roster. I have a real hard time with Jared Goff's evaluation, for example. Let's put Tua over here for a second.
All right.
Jared Goff, when he was with Jeff Fisher at the beginning of his career, truly terrible, thought he was going to be out of the league. The numbers were so bad, I didn't think he was going to learn anything. Then McVay comes in there and does with Goff what the Dolphins have done with Tua. It's the same sort of thing. Get a bunch of skill guys around him. But the Dolphins did it when they had Tua at value. when they
Right.
can afford
Yes.
Tyreek Hill and Waddle because they've got Tua so cheap. The thing that I have trouble with in the evaluation is, and I think even the most ardent Tua supporters would agree with me on this, would he be this anywhere else? Is there another team in the sport that would pay him this way with the personnel that they have? That isn't the 1 and 2 receiver that the Dolphins have, and a scheme that makes Mostert at $9 million. You only have to pay him, what, $9 million for 20-plus touchdowns because you know that any running back with speed you put back there is going to get you the numbers. I have a real hard time with the assessment of value when you tell me that Carson Wentz was once the highest paid quarterback in that sport not that long ago and that Jared Goff is now second.
I'd like to think if you put Tua on the Lions, they're good. They have good skill position players that you would see similar type numbers. I do.
I think every quarterback that has come up for these extensions, outside of maybe Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, we've asked these questions about. Can you invest that much? We've asked it about Josh Allen.
Right.
And really, when someone has had a season like Tua, there is really zero precedent for the team not
If Jalen Hurts
extending
gets
it.
the money, then Tua's got to get the money.
The only time a team has had a quarterback on a really affordable contract that actually did some winning, more winning than they've actually done down here in Miami, was the Browns with Baker Mayfield when they decided to part, and he had an injury-riddled season that wasn't very good, and it made that decision much easier for them. But outside of that, there is very little precedent for a team separating itself from the quarterback. Now, there is a lot of precedent for the team immediately regretting that contract and finding a way to get out from under it. The NFL salary cap is a lie.
Roy,
hi.
We have waited too long to talk about some pretty important playoff hockey. I was scared of the Tampa Bay Lightning based on their history. I was scared of the Boston Bruins based on the last 2 seasons.
You're scared of the Rangers,
I'm
aren't
scared
you?
of the Rangers because they're better than both of those teams.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about this one.
Wow. Concerned.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the big one. This is the big one.
It is the big one.
This is the one we've all been waiting for.
The next one's really the biggest one, but this is
but
for
we
now,
got to get past this one.
But this is the one you're the most scared of, or no? Is this the one you're most scared of?
Out of all the matchups I can think of right now, yes. This
You
is
were
the one.
more scared about the Rangers than potentially the Carolina Hurricanes? Because personally, I was a little bit more nervous about that matchup.
No, I'm more scared about the Rangers because, I mean, the guy's Shesterkin. You know, he's been playing really, really well in these playoffs. So, yeah, I'm a bit nervous about this one.
This is a stunning admission from Roy. Roy has never admitted. He's always covered in barbed wire and bravado.
The last month is the most confident I have seen Roy over a month period in all the years I've known him.
Spring in his step, coming into work with something close to the muscles on his face that have atrophied, trying to get into a smile, incapable of it, but you can see that they're trying to get to a smile. And now the Rangers, just because they've been the best all season, right?
Let's not,
and the Mecca.
Let's not get it twisted, though. Panthers in 6.
Oh, wow.
But you're concerned.
But I am concerned.
With an asterisk of concern.
Yes.
My bad. Sorry, bro.
A little pinch of salt in there in the concern.
The Rangers got a lot of talent. They're President's Trophy winning team for a reason. I think there is a huge talent gulf between the New York Rangers and the Boston Bruins, but they also play a different style. Like, playing Boston really doesn't prepare you at all for what New York brings to the table. However, Florida looked pretty good against Tampa, and I think the game plan for Tampa is the game plan for the New York Rangers. Stay out of the box because this team is very good on the power play, and you're the better team 5-on-5. In fact, there are a few teams that have shown you they can actually hang with you 5v5. So I also think Panthers in 6. I think this is going to be a really good series. Igor Shesterkin is a really formidable goalie. They got a lot of talent. Vinny Trocheck has this insane ability to just really haunt his former teams. They've got really 2 good top lines. Zibanejad's a really good player. Panarin, who almost signed with the Panthers, he's been phenomenal. Probably deserving of more Hart Trophy conversation around him. Kreider's their all-time postseason points leader.
Saved the season.
He just had a hattie, because they would have gone back to the Mecca after blowing a 3-0 lead. Tremendous, really good defensive lines. They have great rotation, a puck mover on every defensive line, and they're very physical. So it should be a really fun series. Florida is better, though.
I think that people who pick their team in 6, it's only because they're scared of 7.
Let's not do this again, please.
They don't want Game 7.
Worked out for the Pacers.
Let me ask you something. Like, why would I be nervous about the Florida Panthers going into an arena that is labeled the Garden when you consider the one in Boston is basically our barn now?
It's that time again. The NBA playoffs are here. And boy, wouldn't it be cool to watch an NBA playoff game in person? Heck yeah, it would. And what better way to do so than by getting tickets on Game Time? Game Time's an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off, which is perfect for people like you who don't plan things out. Or you're just really busy and you don't know you're going to have time to go to a game until the day of the game. And if basketball's not your thing, well, guess what? I'm on the Game Time app right now, and what's this? Oh, Megan Thee Stallion is coming to town. I could also see Bad Bunny or Blink-182, Shakira, and more, because Game Time has tickets to all the high-profile events, not just sports. You know some of my favorite features on Game Time? I can go on the app and I can see the view from my seats, because sometimes it looks like they're going to be great, but I have no idea until I get there. But with this feature, I can actually see. Plus, they have the lowest price guaranteed. And as I mentioned, last minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying your tickets last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Plus, Game Time has flash deals, zone deals, all-in pricing. They've got it all, plus the lowest price guarantee. Or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And at Game Time, you always get the Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
Don Le Batard. Florida claws back from down 2-0 because they were getting their asses handed to them by Toronto to then get lit a fire underneath them by their head coach, Paul Maurice, who did the thing. Remember how the run was sparked last year? Stugotz. He called them a bunch of P's and B's. Mm-hmm. He did the thing again. Called them a bunch of P's and B's, and then, boom, 5 unanswered. You win the division.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Roy looking confident over there, even though there is some concern. Can we talk about Kreider and the lawn situation that he had? He comes home. Do you want this on your lawn after you've scored a hat trick? All of your neighbors have thrown their hats on your lawn, and now in the morning you're getting ready to go to work and stuff, and your neighbors are invasive
Jeremy Taché collection
by
too,
throwing all their junk on your.
Who doesn't want that?
On
though?
your lawn.
He looks
great. I mean,
it's like Mike Fuentes. Salute.
Also, get a walkway.
Yeah,
I mean, what are we doing here?
That's bizarre. That's a walkway that's usually covered in snow. I want to talk a little bit about the Boston series because those joke people up in Boston decided to throw garbage at the Florida Panthers. Act like you've been there before. This is an original 7 against an original 7, and you throw garbage against our team. That is no way to treat your father. Not at all. You do not treat your dad that way. I can treat my dad that way. You cannot.
You do treat your dad that way.
Chris can treat his dad that way. All right, so not them.
I would never treat my dad.
I think we buried the lead also. We have a fraudulent member, a former member of our cast, Chris Whittingham, who is waving the damn New York Ranger flag high and proud. We need to get his ass on the show this week and chastise him.
I've texted him F you a lot over the last few days. But just, if we may, let's concentrate just a little bit more on the Boston series because the Florida Panthers dominated that 6-game series, a 6-game series in which they played well 3 times. 3 poor efforts in that series, one of which they won because that Boston team stinks.
Oh, come on.
They stink.
Let them have
They're
it.
bad. They're bad.
109
That
points
team
this
stinks. A
season.
great job during the regular season by Jim Montgomery because when I saw that team on the ice against the Florida Panthers, I realized, holy cow, that team over there in black and gold, they suck. They're bad.
That's not
and we
true.
kick their asses up and down the ice
All right.
once we realize, Well, after a week off, we got a hockey series, I guess. Right. That dude tried to goon it up in game 2, made the narrative in the media a despicable one, when everyone should have been talking about how the Panthers are daddy. Daddy. Eat that, Boston. You want to pretend like you're gatekeepers of the sport? You don't know where we play. Well, let me make it very clear to Bill Simmons. Home ice is the TD Garden. 6 straight in that barn. You got nothing on us. Garbage-ass team.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju at Batard Show. We're the Bruins sucking bad garbage-ass team this year at Batard Show. Put up Chris Whittingham.
Cheer your loser-ass team as they raise their sticks in the air like they did something you should be proud of. They didn't do shit. They didn't do shit.
Put up on the there on the screen.
2 years running. Sent you packing. At least it was a short trip home for you guys.
Is Barkov's hand okay?
Hey, he showed Bucci Main both hands. He took a puck. I gotta say, Boston was probably going to win that game. Were not for Barkov. Yeah, because Barkov absolutely saved that game.
That was hand of God situation.
Yeah, that puck was absolutely going in. But that's the Selke winner. I haven't heard you. We're this far into the show, and you have not congratulated our captain, Sasha Barkov, for winning the Selke Trophy, the second in his career.
I love you asking if Barkov is okay, and Mike's response is he showed Bucci both hands.
I mean, what do you expect him to say? No, my hand's broken.
Is he going to take face-offs? Is the real question.
He's great at them. He dominated Tampa on the face-off.
Matthew Tkachuk said Sasha Barkov's the best player on the planet right now. Hyperbolic. I think if there's a Conn Smythe being handed out for the playoffs so far, it probably goes to Wyatt Johnson of Dallas. But Barkov's been unbelievable.
The thing you guys are saying, though, this part is truly disorienting to me as someone who has watched 30 years of really subpar to mediocre hockey. You guys, 3 different names you've given me in the last 12 months on best player in the world who plays for the Panthers. You've given me 3 names on this, putting Reinhart in the McDavid category, which seems crazy to me.
I never did that.
You guys talked about Reinhart and Barkov and Tkachuk this way.
Tkachuk's a playoff performer. I would never put Tkachuk in that. And to be fair, I'm not the one calling Sasha Barkov the best player on the planet. I would not put those players in
Tkachuk is doing that.
Tkachuk is doing that. And I would say for people that are casually following the sport, don't really know what's going on, don't really know how the sport's changed a lot, defense in that sport is really difficult to pick out. It's easy when Sasha Barkov is blocking a shot with his left hand. Here's something that Sasha Barkov does that maybe elite players back in the day used to do, but you're not used to seeing in hockey if you're just getting back to it. And that is an analytics play of carrying the puck into the zone, especially when you have an advantage. Usually what we all watched growing up was if we have the man advantage, pin it in deep. Dump it in, we'll get it, we'll reset. Well, analytics figured out that wastes about 25 seconds of possession time. So how do we get a better power play? You give it to your best skater, your best attacker. Sasha Barkov, at his size, you do not see players skate as beautifully as him. They scored a game-winning goal in Boston because of his ability to skate into the zone. That is what Sasha Barkov is damn near better at than anyone else in this league outside of maybe Nathan McKinnon. Being able to go on a rush, just skate between defenders, and carry a puck into their zone. Great decision maker.
And the other thing on defense, when the other team's in transition, he's excellent in back checking. Just like Gus Forsling is great on back checking.
He did get caught. He did get caught.
He got caught on a breakaway,
Yeah, that should have been an interference, probably.
Yeah, but yeah, he's a play killer. He's definitely a play killer for the other team.
We bury the lead here. Are you saying that you watched 30 years of bad hockey down here in South Florida?
Yes. A second burying of the lead.
A lot of Keith Ballard.
Watched all of
Chris Verstein.
With the volume up.
I have watched a lot of shitty hockey
Christian
in this
Huselius.
Wow.
I think we buried another lead, which we covered a little on Friday, but not enough. Bill Simmons not knowing where the Panthers play. Can we relive this and play this sound for the people?
Florida fans, settle down. You didn't know what hockey was until like 1993. You literally didn't have hockey. You've never won a cup. The average person who follows sports has no idea what city you're attached to. You're the Florida Panthers. Are you in Jacksonville? Are you in Orlando? Are you in Palm Beach? Nobody knows. The answer is Miami. But literally most people don't know that.
Including Bill Simmons.
Yes.
The sports guy.
Including a lot of Panther fans, though, in his defense.
I don't think he's saying anything inaccurate there, other than the team plays in Miami.
Look, I don't know what I'm. Look, I just gave you that Sasha Barkov thing. I ripped it from a podcast. I'm from a swamp. There's only 6 people like me. We don't know anything about this sport. So continue on.
Barkov's hand did save that goal. Bobrovsky was wildly out of position. The photograph on how it is that Boston could have tied that series easily, if not for Barkov's hand, made it pretty obvious that would have been a game-tying goal. The thing I wanted to ask you, though, Roy, because you mentioned you have to stay out of the penalty box. Tampa was better on the power play than the Rangers, correct? Was Tampa not the best team?
Tampa was the best power play in the league this season.
In the entire sport, it was Tampa, and so the Rangers have that as an advantage. You don't obviously, in any circumstances, playoff hockey, regular season hockey, want to be down a man, but you're afraid more of Tampa's power play than you were of New York's power play. You're more afraid of Tampa's 5 than you are of any power play situation.
I mean, I was based on past history. I mean, their power play in the playoffs, I mean, they basically murdered the Panthers in recent playoff appearances. But, I mean, you got to stay out of the box against this Rangers club because they're gonna kill you.
Tampa, because of the salary cap and all the winning that they've done, there's a reason why their roster wasn't what it looked like. They are nowhere near as deep. I mean, there are guys on that on that Ranger squad that would be the best player that are on that second line. You could pick any of those 3, and maybe a third of the league, they'd be a bona fide first liner, best player, best scoring option over there. They've got their top 6 guys are really, really damn good. Whereas Tampa, you knew who you had to worry about. You had 86, and you knew Stamkos, who ended up being arguably the best player in that series, was going to be a problem. But where else are they going to get their goal scoring from? Not an issue. And again, as I mentioned, Vinny Trocheck, who has plenty of history as a Panther, all-star, was tripped, not called. Panthers got eliminated.
Bad history.
Great player. Bad trade. Even though he didn't necessarily perform to that level in Carolina, he certainly did against the Florida Panthers, and he just made their lives a living hell in this series against Carolina, and he's bound to make our lives a living hell again.
We're going to get to the gas bag of the week in a second, but Roy, help me with this sport. I have talked before about feeling that with very few exceptions throughout sports, the ability to win one-score games, Tom Brady had some of that, and you can yeah, well, but I'm saying you can find the roots of how it is that he did it numerically, but largely you cannot find teams that are good at winning one-score games across sports. The Marlins last year were a bit of a fluke because they got to the playoffs, but they had a distorted record in one-score games because their bullpen was good. And there are certain things you can do to take the randomness out of it. The Panthers this year, though, and I don't want, just because I'm hopeful that they win the cup, to be blinded by what I think is statistically hard to achieve, which is they're exceptional in one-score games. But the style that they play would also seem to be exceptional in one-score games. So is hockey different than the other sports where the randomness of one-score games is slightly less random?
I mean, if you look at it in this series, I mean, the Panthers, they allowed goals in the first period by the Bruins. They scored first, and then the Panthers ended up coming back to win. So the Panthers are also good coming back into games and then winning by one.
Cardiac cats.
Yeah, which, by the way, that Boston team is not a team that you want to go down. You see the anti-hockey that they play when they're chasing a game, when they have the ability to lock down with a one-goal lead. But you mentioned that entering this series, they've won the exact same number of one-score games as the New York Rangers.
Well, the Rangers are very good at it, too.
Yeah. It's playoff hockey.
Playoff hockey.
Yeah, there really aren't any good I haven't really heard any good predictive analysis when it comes to this series, and the reason why it's so difficult 2 years running with this Panther team is they've shown you in the postseason they're a bit of a different team.
Chris, do you have the gas bag of the week ready? You already took out Simmons, so I don't want to do that to him again, even though you have that in the library. Let's see who this week's gas bag of the week is.
Gas bag of the week.
Excellent production, as always, here, sparing no expense whatsoever, going into the vault to find the highest of art to introduce this stuff. Here is Draymond Green proclaiming the bad body language of the Timberwolves is the reason that series was over when Denver went up 3-2.
Listen here, I got two things of why this series ain't coming back to Minnesota. Number one, the big Frenchman is sitting on that podium speaking his native language. We need to do this. You need to get a stop. It ain't we. Karl Anthony Towns is actually doing a pretty good job when he's on Joker. It's you, my man, that's getting cooked. So it's no we. Now, yes, you do need help from the other guys, but on some of those, help can't help you. Like, you just got to get a stop. So that's number one. Number two, when you're in these playoff series, for me, I'm always looking for the smallest ounce of weakness that I can find. And the way Karl Anthony Towns walked off that floor with the limp after he played the rest of that game totally fine and then he could barely walk leaving the court, they don't believe anymore. And when you lose belief, this defending champions you're playing against, when you lose the belief, it's over. And they don't believe they can win anymore, which means this series is over.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Juju, did TNT pay Draymond Green only to hate Rudy Gobert throughout the postseason? Because that was amazing to watch Draymond just spit hatred again and again. Of the top 15 players in the league, Stugotz, who are paid the most, only one of them is still playing. His name is Rudy Gobert.
That's amazing.
That's the one.
Wow. A note on the Denver Nuggets. What? They won a championship, and they won a championship last year in pretty dominant fashion. I lamented that I wanted to see them get tested, to see the heart of a champion rise, and we finally saw them get tested, and they folded. It's like everything that I believed in, like what a championship assigns a team, is now into question with regards to this sport, because the second they actually had to test that championship medal, the second that I thought it actually mattered against this young Minnesota team, especially a team with Rudy Gobert, who comes in, as Draymond Green has mentioned, with a reputation, Denver Nuggets showed that they weren't that guy, pal.
It's funny because earlier in the series, they were down 0-2 going back to Minnesota. They won both those games. That's exactly what you're talking about. Like, they were showing their championship pedigree right there. But to be up by 20 in a Game 7 when you have a 3-time MVP and you're the reigning champs and not being able to close it out, that's insane.
You guys can do all of that, and I will simply keep coming back to, hey, you guys know how good that defense is Minnesota's playing? Because it's championship defense. And you can tell me it's about the medal of the Joker, but I'm not questioning that dude's medal. He was tired.
He had a great game. No, but I'm
he was
questioning
tired.
Everybody else.
That's fine.
The finals are supposed to make guys like Aaron Gordon and Porter Jr., and I know Jamal Murray had an injury, and I'm not questioning him so much, but, I mean, it's supposed to make those guys really good, that experience over there. And they end up getting worked by a Rudy Gobert team. I know how good that defense is. I know how good Rudy Gobert defenses tend to be entering the postseason. And then Rudy Gobert's not on the floor during those postseasons. He changed the narrative.
I believe that what you just saw yesterday is everyone taking notice for the first time of Minnesota's defense.
Since the dawn of mankind, we've cooked our food over an open flame and debated the best way to grill. One thing not up for debate, grilling and beer always go together. And not just any beer will do. Whether you barbecue Texas style or celebrate Wednesday with burgers and dogs, you need a beer that tastes great and is less filling, so you have more room for food. You need Miller Lite. As you guys may or may not know, I'm a pretty decent cook, especially behind the barbecue. So when I start the fire from my smoker on a hot day, really, the only thing that I have to worry about is what wood I'm going to use. The easiest decision for me is what I'll be drinking. That's a nice ice cold can of Miller Lite. Oh, and by the way, here's a pro tip. It really goes well with brisket. Miller Lite keeps it simple, undebatable quality, and tastes as great as your barbecue. A perfect companion for grill masters across America. With the Miller Lite in hand, grilling doesn't just taste great, it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right at your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping me save more money on prescription drug costs. Maybe you can save too.
With Medicare's Extra Help program, my premium is $0 and my out-of-pocket costs are low. Who should apply? Single people making less than $23,000 a year or married couples who make less than $31,000 a year. Even if you don't think you qualify, it pays to find out. Go to ssa.gov/extra help.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.